Susan, 2018, you joined ACLI. You weren't that familiar with our industry, yet financial security has become passionate for you. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on what's the state of affairs today in financial security.
Well, people are anxious out there. You know how we always start with what's the consumer thinking first, and the consumer's worried about the high cost of living, higher debt levels, increasing interest rates, and having the sense that your family's secure, that's a core value, that's a core need. People are really anxious. What we need them to know, and here's my passion, there's an antidote for it. It's called the life insurance industry. Who is the safety net for people with our array of support and products and financial security products that helps them weather all the financial ups and downs, whether you lose a loved one, and your life insurance policy is there, whether you are retiring and you have an annuity that gives you guaranteed income for life, and a whole lot of other things. The life insurance industry provides the certainty that people are looking for.
So when you think about this life insurance industry, which is near and dear to everyone listening to this interview, you must have found something that you became passionate about. I mean, are there anecdotal case studies or situations that you're aware of that you could just find the passion for this industry?
You know where my sense of passion comes from? It's from you and the other leaders of the industry. That is unique to this industry, the way that you all live it and breathe it and have a great sense of your mission. And it was just through the discussion, is this the right place for me? Am I the right leader for the American Council of Life Insurers? It was hearing from your own lips what made you tick. And people come into this industry and they stay for a long time.
What do you think is lost sometimes in members of the House and the Senate, maybe not fully understanding why this industry has been as valuable to the capital formation structure that it has been?
Well, I think you need to tell the stories. And I think this industry has them, but I don't think we always sort of went to market that way. And I talk about going to market meaning on Capitol Hill. So let's tell them the stories of how we're doing that and how it makes a difference across all stages of life. It's life insurance, it's retirement plans, it's supplemental benefits, it's a short and long-term disability for starters. And you frame it that way with concrete examples and you get a much more receptive audience. And then you explain why a piece of policy could hurt our ability as the life insurance industry to provide that financial security and why the policy needs to be amended, adjusted in order to allow us to provide that important financial security. Sounds simple, but I find it transforming in terms of how these conversations go.
And it gets real, right?
Yes.
So you've seen a lot of changes in the retirement industry just since 2018. We've dealt with fiduciary regs. We've certainly ushered in a generation of workers that had defined benefit, and now they have defined contribution. When you sort of look back in your time at ACLI, what's the change that you've seen in the retirement savings industry for good or bad?
I mean, it was so maddening, as you know well, when we were pushing these big retirement policy packages over the finish line, Secure and Secure 2.0. Everybody agreed with them on Capitol Hill, and therefore they weren't getting the attention they deserved because they weren't controversial. And now as we get ready for a new Congress, a new White House in 2025, everybody's paying attention to it, and it should be easier to push forward the next round of big retirement security policy that'll make more annuities available to more people and other things that they need.
And lifetime income in retirement, right? Ushered in these last few years. And I also think about the context by which these legislators, I do think, increasingly understand the important role the private sector has played. So if we looked at the Global Financial Inclusion Index that the Principal Financial Group produces, in addition to our Well-Being Index, we know that there's really three key organizations or entities that help facilitate this. One's a government, Social Security. One's the employer and the promoting of qualified retirement plans. And that third one is what people do from an individual savings perspective. Are there things that you think about that we could be doing better as an industry to even improve upon that?
Well, there's no question that financial education and somebody who's financially informed when they're making decisions is going to be more financially secure. That doesn't mean they have to make a lot of money. They just need to have a plan, and they need to know how to access the support and make decisions that are right for their family. So I think we could double, triple down on that sort of idea of financial education as part of a financial inclusion strategy. Because what's our value proposition at ACLI and as an industry? It's financial security for all, regardless of age and stage in life, where they live, race, ethnicity, gender. It's financial security for all. But I think financial education is key to that, and we should do more.
So another shift that's occurred underneath your leadership since 2018 is this movement to lifetime income and retirement. So the industry for the last 40 years, it's all been about accumulation, but now we have legislation that makes income more readily available through the employer-sponsored plans. As you think about an aging population, how do you see the industry supporting them as they grow old and are looking for more certainty and more guarantees in retirement income?
In the time that I've been here, in 6 years, the significant increase in awareness of the importance of annuities as exactly that, guaranteed income for life, protected income for life. I think the industry got together, points of unity, and tackled it and understood, listen to the consumer. How do we talk about this important product in a way that's not complicated, but you can understand why it works differently than other kind of retirement security products? And I think we've made huge progress there and more to come. And then, of course, we've had the policy changes with Secure 1 and 2.0 and hopefully more to come.
What I find extraordinary about our industry, Susan, if you think about it, here we have a system that's voluntary. Employers can choose to do this. Employees can choose to participate. Other countries are compulsory. And yet we know there are other people on the fringes that haven't been able to accumulate enough for retirement. As countries go, the United States is in a very favorable position in a voluntary, non-compulsory model to get workers adequately prepared for retirement. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel terrific. What a point of pride for all of us. Of course, there's so much more to do. By 2030, I think 20% of the U.S. population will be 65 or older. That's a lot of people needing retirement as security and living longer, which is great if you're healthy and have financial resources. So we can't rest on our laurels. I see it more as capturing the momentum that we've had, helping people understand the value of annuities, the progress in Congress. We're passing legislation when nothing else happens there, and more to come.
Yeah, you think about it, it's just not only income and retirement and annuities and life insurance and disability, but long-term care in our industry has helped a lot of people successfully navigate getting old, right? That's one of the big challenges. So this is the uncomfortable part of the interview today because no one ever wants to talk about themselves.
That is so true.
Isn't that the truth? But I got to ask you a very serious question. Who is Susan Neely?
Who is Susan Neely? I'd say purposeful. I have made all my career and life decisions around having an impact, and I actually have a little time value quotient going in my head all the time. Am I getting enough done in the amount of time that I have? I think that I am innovative. I believe in coloring outside the lines and being the person who always asks why. Are we doing something to try to foster innovation? And I hope people know that I have a strong moral and ethical compass. I made the final decision that this was a great place for me to come work with you and all the other leaders of the life insurance industry, because I thought these are moral people doing things for the right reason. And I have confidence that I can fit in there and will make great things happen. And I've applied that to every situation throughout my whole professional career. And I hope people believe that I have done things the right way.
I'm quite certain, but I think you left out some really important facts. You're a wonderful daughter to your mother, who's 96 years old, yes. 96 years young.
Uh-huh.
You're the mother of your two children.
Yes.
And in all of those other complexities, you're an amazing CEO leading one of the most important industries. And I hope you understand that I can tell you this now that it's, since 2018, you were the best choice to be our leader, and couldn't be more happy about having you in that role. So when I think about leadership, one of the other things I witnessed about your strength is there were individuals that were in leadership roles who were better individual contributors, and some individual contributors that actually went on to become great leaders. Tell me, how do you go about assessing that person, and what's that conversation sound like when we know that there's a better position for them to support ACLI?
It's a interesting question, and I don't know that there's any formula for it. But I do find people who have natural leadership instincts want to solve problems. Mm-hmm. So it's the person at any level that's sitting there in the room, and I ask why, and I nudge people to speak up and talk. The last thing is for me to act like the smartest person in the room, because we know I'm not. And it's who emerges from that. You can see it right on the very first day. And who stops by in the hall and says, I think that I have an idea here that might solve the problem you're trying to solve. And then you pursue that and you see what happens next. And it's always, I say the secret sauce in organization transformation, and I think this really was one, is certainly new people you bring in are important. But it's finding those gems that were always there and really know how to do everything, and they were just waiting to be
never unlocked.
And unlocked, yes. And then you let them go. But think how many more ripples we all have as leaders if they're out there rippling and making their impact. That's what's great, and energizing and exciting. I will miss. That's probably one thing I'll miss. Is just that leading teams and watching people grow.
I think a lot of people would know that you came from the beverage industry, and that's great. But they may not know the sort of the early Susan Neely, where you went to school, your first job, and maybe some interesting people that I know that you met along that journey.
Yeah. So I'm a Hawkeye, University of Iowa, big public university, and proud to say I graduated from there. Thought I was going to pass out my audition tapes because I had been a broadcast journalism major and be discovered as, the next Barbara Walters. And I so fell in love with being an advocate and working in Congress that I never passed out a single audition tape. So you have to be kind of tuned into yourself and what the world is telling you. And the world was saying, you were meant to be an advocate. You would have been bored as a reporter. And so that launched me from there.
So Susan, we're going down the home stretch here. What's your legacy? When you really look back at ACLI and you say, you know what, I'm really proud, and I get that. But what do you sort of look back and say, the legacy of your career? How did you make a difference?
I think the legacy of my career, and hopefully applies to ACLI, is having an impact, working on things that really matter in people's lives, financial security for all. I care deeply about, child welfare and every child having a loving family and children having enough to eat. I care about education. I care about civility in our politics, in our society. Those are all causes I've had that I've been able to advance in my work and in my personal life, and I'll look forward to finding more ways to do that as I go forward.
Great legacy to leave, and we've all benefited from your leadership and your insights and your wisdom. When you reflect on what's it going to look like, is it travel? Is it fun? Is it more time with the kids? What will the contribution from Susan Neely look like the next decade?
I think it will be all of the above. And there will certainly be opportunities, hopefully, for leadership and impact. I'd like to see what it's like to savor a conversation longer, to look at one of the wonders of the world a little longer, to let life unfold and be open to new things that I can't see right now because I have a time value question going in my head all the time. So it's a little frightening because I worked and lived a certain way, and it's been a glorious career, and I have my family and friends. That's going to be the challenge for me. How do you savor a little more and still will do everything that you want to do? So to be continued.
So when you think about being a CEO, you're in a leadership role, and there's other people listening to this interview saying, how did she do it? What's the secret to Susan's leadership as an incredible CEO? Give us maybe 3 things to think about as someone who admires you on 3 key takeaways and being a great CEO.
First and foremost, you have to be 4 things that matter. People rally around causes, and they want to be working toward something bigger than themselves. And that's really, really critical. People need to have their own sense of efficacy and responsibility delegate to all the leaders that you're helping create, and they'll make a difference. And the last one, I think, is people want to follow an optimistic leader. Who's going to rally around somebody who's pessimistic and can't see a path through a hard time? Optimism is perhaps an undervalued but a critical part of leadership.
And it's contagious. When I see CEOs, they also are able to calibrate that.
Yeah.
They know when the team needs just another couple of ounces of that to make sure they get over the hump.
Yes.
So when you think about what you do today to make the world a better place, what would it be?
Today, we work hard every day to advance financial security for all Americans, regardless of their age and stage in life, where they live, gender, race, ethnicity. We're all in to help people be financially secure.
And isn't it amazing? In a voluntary way, this industry where people make choices about purchasing these products and services that we provide, that we've got such a great overall outcome. We have more work to do, but the industry deserves a lot of credit for the progress that's been made.
The industry deserves a lot of credit, and they're going to have a big impact in the next round after this election on Capitol Hill and beyond.
So if there were sort of parting words, and you've worked with a lot of CEOs, you've worked with some great staff, what are the parting words, Susan?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been an extraordinary ride. We've gotten a lot of things done together, and it couldn't have happened without outstanding leaders in the industry and an outstanding team at ACLI.
I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for the ACLI, everything you've done for this industry. Your passion is contagious, and we are so fortunate to have had you as our leader for so many years. So thank you for taking the time to have this conversation today, and all the best in retirement.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My pleasure.